Welcome seekers to this next law of creative visualization in the Ophel series. From the occult classic book, The Art and Practice of Getting Material Things Through Creative Visualization. We hope you have identified and crafted your first goal. At this point, we are making refinements to increase your chances of successful manifestation by using the deeper laws of the inner planes. In this part, we will cover the law of the barrier. To start this series from the beginning, including the powerful occult foundational rituals and the previous laws of creative visualization or manifestation, please see the link in the description below. Like and subscribe to support the channel and to receive notifications of new material. Now, without further ado, let's go straight to the words of Ophel.
Occult Law number 7, Law of the Barrier. Again, in this section, I am introducing a new subject law which pertains to the art of creative visualization. I have never found this law in this exact form before. I have no good name for this law, and so I have to give it a name myself. I have named this seventh law of creative visualization, the Occult Law of the Barrier. An understanding of this law will enable you to work the art of creative visualization a little more perfectly. In the use of the art of creative visualization methods to get what you want, much confusion exists about the use of verbal words as against symbol pictures. There appears to be two schools of thought about the use of verbal words as against picture symbols, and neither of the two schools seems to know too much about it conclusively. In the past 30 years of occult study work, I ran across first one school of thought and then the other school. They seem to run in cycles. First, there would be schools and books dealing with words, mantras, and chants, etc. And then there would be schools dealing with mental visualizations, pictures, etc. Certainly, you have all heard of Quay and his day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Also, you must have heard of Eastern mantras. Chant and fairy tales are full of words like enchantment, and in chant, sing, meant, state of, and invoking, invoke, voice, speaking. All these things pertain to word sounds. It appears that states have to be gotten by words and things have to be gotten by mental pictures. It probably could be said that the East is interested in states, while the West is interested in things. Therefore, I presume the choice is up to you. If you want things, then follow the instructions as given in this book. And if you want states, then follow the Eastern type of instructions, or work out your own system with the knowledge you have been given here. Speech, in the sense that we use word sounds to convey ideas to each other, is, in the evolutionary existence of man, a recent invention. In thinking of speech, you must never confuse human speech with the speaking of God, as, for example, where in the scriptures it says, God spoke. The speech of God is an entirely different thing from human vocal sounds. But as this is the only kind of speech we know about, we are apt to mistake the one for the other. The creative speech of the divinity is connected with the tattva akasha sound granules, which sound granules are vibrations, and these vibrations shape the astral light, the logos, into all things, and then change these things to material things by an entirely different process. Thus, this human speech of ours, due to its recent invention, does not pertain to the depth of our being, our inner subconscious mind, but rather speech pertains to our outer conscious mind only. You should know from your occult studies that you have two minds, an inner one and an outer one. The outer one called the conscious mind, and the inner one called the subconscious mind. The existence of these two minds in you is what makes all the trouble in the world. Or maybe I should say, the separation of these two minds makes all the trouble for you in the world.
Ophel here refers to Emile Coué, a psychologist and hypnotist who in the early 20th century developed the now popular technique of autosuggestion or affirmations. This is the practice of repeating a phrase over and over to yourself until it sinks into the subconscious mind. He coined the affirmation, "Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better." This illustrates the effect of using words, chants, and mantras to create and establish a different state of mind and being, such as more joy, confidence, health, and so on. Students of meditation and yoga will be familiar with Sanskrit mantras, which invoke various states of consciousness. Ophel further explains that using mental pictures or creative visualization, as we have been learning here, is used to manifest objects and things, such as a job, a house, money, and so on. Of course, you can combine both and use a system which brings both the objects desired and the mental or emotional state you wish to experience through these objects. When Ophel speaks of God, please note that he is not promoting any particular religion or anthropomorphic God, but using this concept in the Hermetic way, to refer to the divine, cosmic intelligence underlying reality. You may wish to relate to this force in any way that resonates with you. Now, back to the text.
For those of you who are ready for higher things, I will drop a big, fat, juicy hint as to what illumination really is. Becoming a master, becoming an adept, becoming like a god, means the two minds fuse into one. Enough said. Attend to the following knowledge carefully. Word speech are the language of the conscious mind, whereas feelings are the language of the subconscious mind. So, I repeat again, all the trouble we have in the world in living this material life successfully and fully comes from the differences in communications between the two minds. The inability of these two minds to talk to each other, to get ideas and commands over to each other, conscious you to talk to unconscious you. Hardly in your whole life have you been able to tell yourself what you really mean. In studying this book and learning therefrom the art of creative visualization, you are entering upon a new phase in your life, a phase in which you can learn to communicate properly to and with your subconscious mind. You can learn to give your subconscious mind positive directions and have them obeyed by it in order to get things done for you. At this point, I believe I will part with a couple of big occult secrets. Big occult secrets that you would never get except from some secret society, and then only under big oaths of much secrecy. And you would never be able to use them for your own benefit or tell them to another person, so that person can help themselves. Oh, heavens! Again, for heaven's sake, use these secrets for your benefit and then for the benefit of others. First big secret. Your inner you is connected almost directly with the inner forces of the physical cosmos. And the second big secret. The inner forces of physical cosmos are the emotions, feelings of God. The word emotion means moving, something moving. Movements on the inner planes are vibrations of different kinds and of different forms. Their inner plane vibrations as soon as they come in contact with your inner plane subconscious, become visible to you as your emotions. And the converse is also much more importantly true to you. Your subconscious emotions generated by you reach out and contact these inner plane forces and influence them to your benefit. Now, with this imperfect and incomplete explanation of the basic foundation of this creative visualization art out of the way, the reason I use the words imperfect and incomplete is that modesty forbids me to claim, as others do, that I have given you the whole truth and whole truths of being. All I have given you is enough theory knowledge to enable you to proceed with your work in this art. We can proceed. The art of creative visualization would be a terrifically simple matter if we could just talk our desired visualizations into physical existence. But that simple thing we cannot do. You could spend a lifetime talking about what you want and still not get one word through to the submind. Talking, words must be linked with emotional feelings in order to work. Yet we cannot think or even operate, communicate on the physical plane without the use of words, and it is by words that the outer has to communicate with the inner. However, I am glad to be able to show you that through all these contradictions between words and emotions and words, there is a path that does go right through it all. To explain this path, I have invented a name for it, a practice I abhorred when others did it, and here I am, doing it again. The name I have invented is the barrier. Imagine a place inside your mental being where there exists a sort of fence. This fence or barrier separates your outer being from your inner being, separates your conscious mind from your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind, is outside the barrier, and your subconscious mind, is inside the barrier. This is not too good a way of explaining it, but this explanation is only to describe a theory, and that only so your mind can have something to grapple with. Don't demand too much from a theory. As soon as you get used to the idea, you will not use the conception anyhow. Imagine that the barrier works in the following manner. Words come up to the barrier, strike the barrier, sink in the barrier, and then emerge on the other side, the inner side, as emotions. Conversely, imagine emotions coming up to the inside of the barrier, hitting the barrier, sinking into the barrier, and emerging on the outer side as words. When you can visualize and work this operation, you have made a great advance in the mastery of the occult arts. This theory of the barrier may be only an invention of my mind to help you understand these important occult operations. But you can see for yourself that something like this must be so in order to seal off your inner being from your outer being. If this barrier did not exist, the least little word would raise a perfect hell of emotions that could not be controlled. And if the barrier did not exist, the least little emotion would raise a storm of words that would be meaningless to you and all others. The barrier slows down both of these transfer actions and allows proper living to proceed in a halfway orderly manner. Understanding the above instructions in the barrier process enables you to deliberately control the barrier actions, going and coming, or, as might be said, control the traffic both ways. You can now consciously link your words with emotions and your emotions with words.
Ophir explained something that the occult and esoteric traditions have always known. the separation between the conscious and subconscious mind. The conscious mind is connected to our physical world. We use it to interface with the outer world. Our subconscious mind is connected with our inner self, which is connected with the mind of the infinite intelligence. Simply talking does not manifest reality. We can talk about our dreams and desires all day long without ever seeing them come to fruition. The barrier stops many of these useless words from penetrating into the inner mind. To make an impression on the subconscious mind, the words must be connected with emotion. This is the language that the inner mind understands. When crafting your manifestation, along with a clear mental visual of your goal, use an affirmation statement with words that are linked with strong, positive emotions. The 9th law will expand further on the use of emotion in creative visualization and manifestation. Next time, we will discuss the 8th law, a manifestation favorite that has been used by occultists for centuries, the treasure chart or treasure map. Be sure to subscribe to receive a notification. And in the meantime, arise and awaken.